is sending out a proxy. Top rights for Kaisi Gaming, it is Spirits.
And in the bottom left side of Hardwire, we're going to take a look at the main base of our Polish Protoss. Started this group stage run with an 0-2 versus Battlebee. Needs to turn things around today. Can he cause the upset that Twitch chat does not believe in? This is Krystianer.
There's one person here today that believes in the upset. It's apparently you, Roddy. You're looking like a genius when it happens.
I just sometimes you have this vision, right? And I can just see 20 zealots storming on 2 exposed tanks, 8 marines trying to micro a little bit too hard, but it's not going quite well. I don't know. I just have a vision. I had a weird dream, by the way, Zombie. I had a dream that Dragon Phoenix Gaming Hero was streaming, and that apparently he had the best English of all time, and he was just having entire monologues like he came straight out of Harvard or something. And I was like, man, and he had like 7K viewers, and everyone was like, wow, Hero, you're so good at StarCraft. And I was like, man, and I woke up, I was like, that was a random dream.
That is pretty random, considering that Hero's not really been in the we haven't cast like a ton of Hero lately, right?
No, but, I know. I guess I saw him. I think like I do follow his channel, so it shows up on the left side because he has been streaming a little bit. And I guess that's one of the last things I saw before I went to bed. I was like, oh, Hero's streaming. And then I just had a crazy dream about his stream.
I don't play StarCraft as much as like you do, but I do get the dreams of StarCraft. And I recently had a dream that woke me up in the middle of the night because like basically 20 zealots ran into my base and I was starting to lose a game that I had won. It actually made me really depressed for that day. It was just like very much the feeling of winning and then suddenly losing. It hurt me for 24 hours. But this is actually a really interesting opener, right? So it's very possible that we could have continued talking about nothing because this was a barracks proxy with a Reaper and then into a factory expand. It's like, it's not that weird. But this is a factory proxy as well with reactored Marines and a starport. Like, this is full-on 1-1-1 proxy. That's kind of an insane commitment.
Yep, and Krystianer did not probe scout. So he just made a zealot. He actually did this the other day in the qualifiers against Baby Marine. Baby Marine also not scouted and just went for a Reaper fast expand. Was not able to deal with the zealot, took a lot of damage. Spirit did one thing incredibly right in this game, and that's already sending 1 Marine home. Now the Adept is going to try to get in range with the Marine, but this is about to get weird because Krystianer is expecting to run into a command center on the low ground. There is no command center. There's not even a factory going up on the high ground. So he knows that this game is going to get crazy. And now the only real question is, are we also going to build a Thor? Or is it just going to be tanks behind this? Or are we only going to Withermine drop and try to play a normal game behind this? But one thing is for sure, a lot of workers are going to go down, arguably on both sides, because 1 Marine is going to have a hard time keeping this at bay. But these Withermines have crazy potential.
This is a very interesting game, for sure. You might think, oh, why didn't Spirit just play it safe back at home since he only had 1 Marine? Why not build a bunker? The build is really tight. You can constantly look at his minerals and see it doesn't go over 100. So there's a reason this is getting complicated. And it's about to get even more complicated. Widowmines cloaked up, all going to be able to burrow as well. That's one late. Is dragged.
That's late.
Ooh, not as bad as I thought it was going to be, though.
Nope. 1 Widowmine hasn't fired yet. Okay, 1 Widowmine has fired. The Phoenix is just going to tank it and is going to keep chasing that medevac. How are the Adepts doing on the other side of the map? The Widowmine has fired on the Zealot only. Krystianer needs to drop a Revelation, by the way. Okay, he has done that. So there are no more mines to worry about, but the 2 Adepts are going to be in a bit of trouble on the other side of the map as the Widowmine does fire at one of those Adepts. So only 1 Adept remains. This is all crazy. This is all hectic. It's not that bad yet. We're going to have to take out that Widowmine too, though. Do we have firepower? We have no firepower, and this is where things become really awkward. God. Oh, so many probes. No. Oh, my goodness. No, there's another Widowmine. There's another Widowmine. Okay.
It's split.
Yeah.
This could have gone so much worse so many different times, all right? Like, I'm actually really I respect Krystianer. He may have missed the right side. Yeah. Respect Krystianer for realizing that couldn't target his probes all the way to the right side and just like tuck them in a corner. This is so weird. You know, it's such a weird game because Krystianer didn't scout and because Spirit actually dedicated to every single building on the proxy. But now it's just full on in favor of Spirit. He's doing all the damage so far. Has he done enough yet? Maybe not. But there's always potential for more. He's going to get a depth there.
And now there are more Widowmines coming in, and we still just don't have that much firepower. This is going to get painful. Will an Oracle die? No Oracles die. Actually, it's only a couple of probes. There was one Widowmine in the natural though that during the craziness of the main killed 6 probes in a single shot. I mean, the income graph of Krystianer is going to be one of the saddest things to look at because his probes are all over the place. He had an economic lead, and it's safe to say that he no longer has an economic lead. What he does have, though, is a much quicker second base, right? For as much damage Spirit has done, he kind of needed to do this amount of damage because that is a 6-minute command center, Zombie Grub. Like, that's not very great.
It is what I was going to point out. You know, I said that this wasn't enough damage yet, but there is potential for more. Oh, okay. And that was really crucial, is that it still needed to do more damage, because with 2 Nexus, double probe production, and double Chrono potentially, you know, there's a lot more potential for a follow-up here if the Widowmines get stopped in their tracks, but the Phoenix stopped checking for that medevac. They actually let it drop out almost all of the Widowmines.
Oh my goodness, so close. If he would have attacked it one time with the probe, he would have actually been able to prevent that one from going up. That definitely was the biggest shot of the game so far, and it is still not over. There is another very happy little Widowmine that just burrows. What a nightmare game to play. This has to be so stressful. And it's still, the funny thing is, it's still not even all that bad. It's not great, and now it's getting worse, obviously, as another mine shot goes off. But that orbital was still not done on the other side of the map. But it's also not like Krystianer is about to work with 17 Zealots in charge or a Colossus. No, this is just a very clumsy Skytles army.
It's a weird game. The potential is dropped significantly for Krystianer to bring this back, since the Widowmines kept on doing damage, not just the direct damage, that one probe shot, you know, being amazing, but even just the lost mining time. The fact that the Phoenix have never been able to find the medevac in transit is really quite a catastrophe. Like, they've been so close. They're definitely on the right track many times before, and yet again, they are missing it. So that not only means that damage is going to happen with the Widowmines again, it means that the Phoenix aren't doing anything important right now.
Yep. Spirit actually turned around because he didn't see the Skytles units, and he's like, well, this time around he's definitely going to be ready. So he waited. Well, if he would have just gone for it, it would have once more been very annoying and very awkward to deal with for the Polish Protoss. There's still one more mine that could connect with a Phoenix, could very well kill a Phoenix. No, this one gets revelated, so good job there. And now Spirit also knows where those Oracles and the Phoenixes are. What a game, man. 8 minutes in, 16 Widowmines have died, but 32 probes have died as well, and obviously a ridiculous amount of lost mining time.
There's still so much more potential in it, too. I mean, technically, Krystianer could have handled this oftentimes better than he did, but the potential of handling it so much worse is higher, in my opinion. Maybe I'm just biased because I would have messed it up, but the fact that he was able to save some of those probes in the last second, split at the last second, get maybe a little bit lucky with that Widowmine that was like in the corner, right? It means that it's a playable game for him. Where this could have, even though Widowmines are not usually the type of unit to end a game, just like get that GG, they could have. If they just kept on getting all the shots off, Krystianer could have just cut his losses, said GG, and moved on to the next game. Now, maybe there's something to play with.
Yeah, the thing is, he's following this up with Zealots with charge, and that's good if you have something else to really keep the Terran army pinned. You can drop a couple force fields or Colossus. He doesn't have any of that. Does find an empty medevac, is going to be able to kill it, but now there is an army moving to his side of the map, and the biggest problem is that there is a medevac drop heading towards the main. Krystianer, are we paying attention? Yes, we are paying attention, but now we also have to worry about the main Terran force.
That's what's going to be really difficult to do right now. A lot of his army is disjointed trying to track these Widowmines, and while he does a great job of saving his probes and dealing with them, he's got nothing on that third base. And Spirit, I mean, I think he just figured it out, right? Just blitzes towards it. Now he's going to tuck himself into a corner. Only one medevac healing, but it's going to be enough firepower to at least do some damage here, kill a lot of Zealots, kill a decent amount of probes. He actually does get cleaned up, though. I mean, when you do something like that, you know you're not going to escape, so that's the decision that Spirit made. And while 10 probes sounds like a decent amount, and certainly it is, it's again one of those things where Krystianer's like, I don't like that happened, but I think I can play off of it. Let's keep trying. Let's keep hoping that more mistakes are made, bigger mistakes are made from Spirit.
The thing is, as well, is that there is now still one Widowmine left in his main, and he's got absolutely zero detection after losing those 2 Oracles. So he can't even deal with it. Instead, he's going to warp in a cannon, but this mine will fire again before that cannon is done. At least Krystianer is aware of it, and he does have one cannon finishing up. But Zealot Archon is never going to get the job done because Spirit now knows there is charge. So he'd be absolutely crazy to move out with a small force. He is just going to wait. He kind of knows if Krystianer needs to attack him. Krystianer can't really attack. So now the only thing you can do is just play super straight up macro. I'd say take all your gases and try to go double robo, right? Fire up Blink as soon as you have the resources for it. Take the game from there. But it is very complicated and awkward to play. It is stunning though that he is up 8 workers after losing 45 probes.
Exactly. That's why I say like it's kind of playable, but obviously still a bad spot to be in as a Protoss player who would have already wanted to have full saturation on 3 bases and pumping zealots. You know, like the amount of probes he's had to remake is insane. So that's the real struggle for him right now.
We don't mind dropping the natural, the one place where we don't have a cannon. He's not paying attention. He's going to lose 11 additional workers. Man, if this was a ladder game, Zombie Grub, I'd be done with StarCraft.
For sure.
Yeah, I'd be like, all right, that's it for me, guys. Let's go ahead and queue up some Hearthstone or something, because this is it. This is all the probe losses that I can deal with in a single day.
Yeah, if this is a ladder game, he did cut his losses 10 minutes ago. Not quite that much, but he probably already taps out. But as it is a very important match and he's not completely dead, I really gotta admire his ability to survive and try and think things through. So he does go for the double robo. He's going to add on some very like kind of dependable Colossus. They're not going to get those big shots like maybe a desperate Disruptor would, but they are dependable. And then try and control the game as much as you can when you're really limited on resources. Because a good Protoss who's not taking this much damage could have the army at home, 3 bases going on to 4, and maybe enough cash in their pocket to threaten a real run by. If Krystianer wants to go for a run by, that's like, you know, his 2 choices. Like, okay, pump a lot of zealots in, hope I catch him off guard, or pump all my army on the defensive and hope that I can barely survive. So I admire his attempt here. You know, a couple of zealots could really throw Spirit off, but he can't do much more than that. He's got to take everything back home.
He's definitely going to go for Zealot drop in the main, Zealot run by into the third. And if we can avoid the biggest of EMPs, maybe we can hang in there. But one problem is the upgrades, man. These bio units have +2. The Archons are clumped up. The EMPs are decent. These Stalkers don't have Blink yet. We need Colossus number 2 and 3 right here, right now. Maybe Battery Overcharge can save the day. Wouldn't hate a couple of Zealots at this point, as unfortunately the Phoenix once more flies over the majority of the Terran army. He is going to kill a decent amount of SCVs on the other side of the map. But if we lose the base, it is obviously not a good trade.
Not that warping in offensively really made any difference. I just was surprised he chose to warp in offensively. He was really hoping the Zealots were truly catching Spirit off guard, like absolutely nothing at home. It did not work out that way. And the Zealots of the third base, you know, obviously the SCVs got pulled. So Krystianer was pretty much doomed either way. 7 extra Zealots back at home just would have been kited against. EMP kited against wouldn't have helped out very much. But
no, Colossus!
The ideas are all there. He just doesn't have enough. 2 Colossus get bopped, and the army is able to kind of wiggle its way through those force fields to even escape. GG.
63 workers have gone down, and it also ended up with 22 probes in the top left side of the map. For a split second, I was like, maybe they go for the command center, you know? We've seen a lot of crazy things, but what we've never seen is 22 probes taking out a command center that's morphing into a planetary. I was like, it may as well. A couple of fights happening at the same time. That was a fun one. Really funny little interaction. Spirit proxying all 3 of his original production facilities, and Krystianer opening blind with the Zealot Adept, hoping to catch a regular command center on the low ground. Instead, it just turned into everything. And one thing that really saved Spirit in this game is that he had that 1 Marine already on the right side of the wall. If you don't have that Marine, it actually becomes really awkward. And I love that he ran 1 Widowmine back to just slowly but steady take out the Zealot, take out another Adept, and then you don't have to worry about those depots on the fire too much anymore.
Right. Yeah. For that particular type of game, I do think that the person who kept the chiller head in the first couple of minutes was going to be rewarded more. And it did feel like Spirit kind of took it calmly. I'm not sure he was expecting to go up against that, right? The Zealot suddenly appears and he's like, oh, okay, all right, this is a little bit troublesome. But he was able to adapt his build to help both defensively and offensively. I just kind of am wondering about the likelihood of that build actually doing what he wants all the time, you know? Because I'm just thinking primarily, is there a point in proxying that barracks? There probably is. But with how Krystianer opened up blind, it like didn't matter, right? And it feels like it could be something you add on at home to be even a little bit safer. So I would love to see that game again against a different opener from the Protoss and see how it goes. I think at the end of the day, going into a Stargate against a proxy Terran is totally normal, and having trouble against dropped Widowmine is totally normal. But I was kind of fixating internally on the idea that proxy barracks. As someone who cheeses a lot nowadays, I'm always scared of proxying the triple, right? Every single building feels very scary to do.
But I think the main reason is to build a reactor, though, right? Because he doesn't build a reactor in the factory. So. He just builds one marine, runs it at home, builds the reactor, and then he flies the barracks home. But I guess you don't want to build one mine at a time if you can build 2 mines at a time.
Yeah, and it'll build as fast as possible, right? Like it is still such a committal most of the time, however. But obviously, like one of the only, I think, hard counters that exists to that is going to be like a cannon rush. And you're not really going to get a lot of cannon rushes in pro games, TVP. So it's not like you have to worry about that. So 1 Marine home, send a Widowmine home if need be. Okay, you got it. You got the game. And Krystianer tried so darn hard, so hard to stabilize. Even though he took a bunch of shots and he lost the game, I kind of respect the hell out of Krystianer for sticking in it, and mitigating the damage.
And if it wasn't for that one mine that actually went cloak when it had like 5 HP, maybe it would have all gone a little bit better in the transitional phase for Krystianer. Because that one mine was so close, and that was the biggest shot of them all, like 11 probes going down to a single shot. And it was a bit unfortunate that he flew quite far towards the top left, but then he turned around and he's like, where are they? And he's checking everywhere, and he just couldn't quite find where that factory and where that starport was located. Because if you know where it is, then you can actually send just one Phoenix there, and the moment that the medevac comes out, you can kind of keep tabs on it, and you make your life a lot easier. Now it was a guessing game from the very beginning till the very end. But it did make for a very fun and explosive, no pun intended, game 1 between these two. Let's see what game 2 has in store for us. In the top right side, representing Kaisi Gaming, lost his opening match in this group against Raynor in 2 very long games, but they were still kind of one-sided. This is Spirit.
In the bottom left is the blue Protoss for Team Blazer, isn't it? It is Krystianer.
Super correct.
Well, the only thing I was worried about was Blazer versus Blazer, right? hard Z, but yeah, I got it right. Nice. This time around, Krystianer is actually going to scout. Yes.
Or
okay, that is a lot of patrol.
This probe's going to be busy for a while.
Yeah, mostly this would be against more. This would be against either a proxy in the natural, like you tuck the barracks behind the mineral line, which is real cheeky, and then an engineering bay block, I guess. But it seems pretty early, really.
Yeah. Okay. Or maybe keeping an eye on an SCV, potentially building a bunker behind the super early bunker. But yeah, that's a bit early and a bit weird. We are once more going for the Zealot. And are we going to actually probe scout this time around? Oh, 2K is a big map, though. I saw him do this build on Berlin Ground, and that's obviously a lot shorter. I don't know if we can really find that much success with an opening like this against somebody who's as good as Spirit, unless he just cancels the Zealot. And this was just a safety Zealot in case he was going to get bunker rushed. But nope, we are going to chrono boost the hell out of it. And Spirit is going to have all the time in the world to figure out how he wants to deal with this, because he is SCV scouting. I don't know how I feel about this zombie group. I don't think it's going to work out great for Krystianer.
I don't like it, personally. I try not to pass too harsh of judgment on pro gamer ideas, though, especially because, 1, I want creativity, so I'm not going to just shut everyone down. But then 2, I mean, there's obviously a reason why they do it, right? There's probably a lot of successful ladder games that Krystianer has had. One thing leads to another. But yeah, I would say that my expectation for it against a guy like Spirit is that it won't work. It won't do a lot of damage.
Dealing with this Reaper is going to be a bit of a nightmare. We're going to pull the low HP probe away, but it's going to get picked off. Probe number 2 is in a lot of danger, goes down as well. And this could very well be -3 probes. Incredibly quick. At least we're going to get the kill on the Reaper. Yeah, that is nice. Losing 3 workers this quickly is painful. What did the SCV get done on the other side of the map? And nothing so far. So we can delay mining time for a little while, and we do get a good scout off, of course, because most likely Spirit is going to have to reveal whatever his follow-up is, if it's additional barracks or if it's a Hellion, Widowmine, Cyclone. But losing 3 probes is pretty painful.
Really painful. This is, I think, totally fine for the Terran, who might not even have to really skip a beat on the SCV production. They do have to use their mule in the main, but that's such a tiny little note here. It really, I think, is most important is not to let this snowball. And by snowball, I don't mean suddenly game over for Spirit. I mean snowball is in one SCV, you think you're safe, you pull the SCVs from the main base, exactly what Spirit's doing, then you realize, okay, I didn't actually kill enough, suddenly you lose 5 SCVs. I mean, as long as you don't let that happen, which I'm fairly confident Spirit won't let happen. Oh, I pulled him just to repair the Hellion. Okay.
There's a lot of SCVs not doing a whole lot though at this point, so this is definitely starting to add up, and I like the idea of having 3 relatively healthy Adepts. Now we do pick up an SCV, the Adept's gonna make it into the main base. There is a Widow Mine somewhere, and if this mine fires at the Adepts, that's actually good for Krystianer. Yes, he is gonna see it. In a weird way, it's good, because now at least he knows it's there and he won't lose the Oracle to it. But that's 5 SCVs in the end, and we have created a 7-worker advantage, even though all of this got scouted very quickly.
Yeah, I said 5 SCVs, and there you have it. I still think it would have been a little bit nicer for Krystianer to get the 5 and then maybe skedaddle with 1 or 2 Adepts, but at the end of the day, yeah. And while the Oracle, I mean, if that could have gone the right direction away from the Viking, might have gotten 2 or 3 more SCVs on top of there, right? But it looks like it's a stopper on the worker damage, and Spirit can get back to focusing on his build, which he is messing up a little bit because of all this.
Yeah.
Little supply blocks.
And it also feels like builds like this can get a little bit complicated, right? Like, I actually think since Spirit is, of course, the better player between these two, if you keep life simple and you just try to get Stim and Combat Shield as quickly as possible, I think you're going to have a field day. Instead, now it's going to be a little bit hit or miss. This Phoenix needs to scout this move out. Krystianer, his blink is already halfway done, though. And with like 4 extra Stalkers or 3 extra Stalkers, he's going to be totally fine. He's actually going to get very far ahead in this game, I think. Like, he scouts the 3rd CC, he knows he's not going to die anytime soon. There is a stasis trap that could buy a lot of time here. One of the Marines activates it. Yes, the SCV. Trade the SCV. Now it's perfect. It's such an easy fight. Krystianer is going to... Oh my goodness. How did it... 9.
What am I drop?
I didn't see it.
Yeah, I hit the natural, killed 9 probes, and then the main base also got a decent shot. Could have got a better one, because Shanna really wasn't paying attention at all. I think that might be just one of those mentality shifts, right? You think I got a lot of control over the game. A lot of the momentum is building from my side. Exactly what you were talking about. And I guess exactly what that opener wants to do, that maybe for a hot second, you forget that Widow Mines still exist, that a medevac could still pop out, even though they went for a Viking. I mean, it definitely was a decision here from Spirit to still do this, but it worked out well for him.
Yep, that's actually a very big W. At least Krystianer is going to be able to clean this up, takes out the mines, takes out the medevac too, but that sweet little economic advantage that he was working with is gone. And it's going to take a little while before he gets that back, as Spirit is. A 3rd command center is completely done now. It will still be a very playable game, because with the way that Spirit has played this, he doesn't have anything really feisty powerful. That Cyclone is going to be in a bit of trouble. If Krystianer sees it, he could absolutely go for it. There is a Phoenix there too. Whoa, what? How the hell did it lift? Can he lift the tank? Can he blink into the main base and do something crazy? No, the tank is very well protected. Can we go for the bunker?
How would it be worth it? Yeah, okay. As long as he's out of the tank range. Yeah. Gets the SCVs he pulled into it. Now there's 2 tanks, so that should never happen again. But, oh, more importantly, Viking? That's what it is. I thought it was a Widow Mine drop. It's a Viking. Killing a couple of probes in return.
Probably gonna have to deal with this. Would be nice if we warp in a couple of defensive zealots. Feels like Krystianer really wants to make magic happen. Oracle is gonna activate Pulsar Beam, and we'll start chipping away at these SCVs. We do finally take care of that Cyclone, so that's something. There's now a probe on the other side of the map. That is interesting. And Krystianer is like, all right, I should probably send that one back. That Viking ended up killing 5 probes. There's definitely a few too many when you have Blink Stalkers and you have a Stargate.
Right, yes. Oh, Krystianer still taking some L's, even when he thinks he's taking some W's. Not feeling like it's... I mean, it's a better game, obviously, than last time, but it just doesn't feel like it's really working enough in his favor.
No,
so the
that's
stasis trap,
crazy.
that's a very aggressive blink. Yes, he gets 1 tank, but it took 2 shots, and 2 more tanks were unsieged, and that DPS is actually really good. So that was an overconfident blink there.
Yep, it was. I mean, seconds away from Stim as well. Imagine if those last 3 Marauders can press the T button. Then you're going to lose each and every single Stalker, and you can pray to God that you can even kill 2 tanks. Krystianer is a bit reckless, and that is how we know him. He is an aggressive Protoss player. He likes to trade, and normally he does that off the back of a superior economy, but he's just been losing too many probes to really make trades like this. Once more, an 8-minute game. 21 workers have gone down. maybe we can make some magic happen with a few zealots with charge into the main base. Because the main base right now is awfully empty. Like, Spirit is spreading himself relatively thin. Doesn't have too many units to work with. I see potential for that War Prism.
Could definitely do some damage. I don't know if it's going to be what brings it back into the game. Not right here, not right now. So I think emphasis on keeping the War Prism alive. Don't double down. Okay, good. He's not going to. And then try and distract. So he's maybe even going to come in from 3 different angles. Stalker to the left, more Zealot to the right, something like that. If he sees that Spirit is overcommitted to the main base, which I think he just missed catching the glimpse of. That's actually a pretty secure third anyways. So maybe not. Looks like Spirit... maybe he's lost too many of these games to someone who does just spam the charge left button and runs at him, because he's built the 2 bunkers in both games.
What can we talk about that Ghost Academy?
It's a good Ghost Academy.
Part of the wall up.
It's, you know, something. I don't like. That's actually really bizarre.
If you click on that, you must be like, what is that? You know, it's like too big for a barracks. It's too small for a CC. If I'm Krystianer, I'd be like, what is that? And it's like, a Ghost Academy, really? Oh, that's something. We do have an observer in the main base. Upgrades is going to be the name of the game once more. At least Krystianer is able to work with 1-1 this time around. And we are going to get Colossus in a better spot than we were in the previous game. Like, this is a playable game. It's very playable even. And he's like maybe 1 or 2 good fights away from taking a big lead. I wouldn't hate it if he goes into Disruptors after like 3 Colossus, right? Let's go 3 Colossus, maybe 1 Anchor Immortal to actually keep Marauders at bay, and then let's go ahead and rush into those Disruptors. Because Archons, they're not going to do it, but Disruptors, they very well could.
Right, yeah. It's definitely important that Krystianer not only tries to catch up on upgrades, which, as you said, let's have a couple, but that he adds that diversity to his composition. Being stuck on Charge Lot Archon, desperately hoping that you overwhelm the Terran. It can sometimes work, but Spirit being such a slower paced Terran who's really going to not mind waiting until he's maxed out, waiting until he has a certain number of ghosts, waiting until he has those upgrades, that's really not going to work out too well. I know Nice tried to prove that wrong in their best of 5 in Katowice, but Spirit held strong. So trying to add the complexity, trying to get to Colossus, then onto the Disruptors, and hell, maybe even some Immortals later on, depending on how the game goes. That's what makes the engagements work for a Protoss army. So we're getting into a more classic TVP, which is kind of nice. After the couple of Widowmine shots, I was worried it was once again going to devolve into madness and Spirit winning.
We do have another Prism on the way, which I think is a little bit bizarre. We already have the Prism. You're going to have to recall it immediately. Krystianer, please tell me you've got a recall available. He does not have a recall available by the looks of it. And that means he's going to be forced to unload those 4 Zealots. I mean, that's once more just 10 supply down the drain. Gets absolutely nothing done. Immediately picks up a few more. We are going into Disruptors, though, and that will always give every Protoss player some hope. And meanwhile, Spirit is just like, all right, mate, let's play some proper late game. I got a lot of screen time yesterday against Raynor. I think we had a 40+ minute game on Hardwire. I want to get a little more stream time, as I'm going to drop the 2nd Starport and the Fusion Core.
Right? He's going to definitely make the game longer. So, a lot of other Terrans at this point. Oh, he's missing missile turrets in the main. He'll probably add it after this particular warp-in, because this is a big headache. I was going to say a lot of other Terrans would have tried to split their armies, go for a couple of drops, or at least tried to be the first one to push out and then go into Liberators. But Spirit, one of the ones who definitely says, all right, late game it is. Let's go right to it. Means that Krystianer now gets to do this. He actually gets to be in control for the first time in the series and bop around Spirit's bases trying to catch him off guard.
Yep, and if he picks up those 2 tanks, he definitely gets himself in a decent spot. Then we can just start spamming balls towards the right and maybe take out the planetary, but it's so hard to take out the planetary if you don't have multiple Immortals in the mix. He takes a look at it, but he kind of had to do that a bit quicker, right? Like, if you are pulling units out of position with your War Prism, as this Viking, by the way, is about to get a multi-kill Viking, already killed a Prism before. He's going to get the 2nd Prism, but the Zealots do get back into the main, and there are still no missile turrets, which is a little bit shocking.
It really is. 1,600 minerals, 4 going on 5 bases. I mean, 3 missile turrets, probably worth it. But okay, we'll get to it when we get to it. At this point, Spirit might be looking to give away some supply. I don't know if he wants to lose all 4 of those medevacs, but okay, well, he's not going to lose supply because it's all stasis trapped.
Yeah, but that's actually very good, though. There's multiple ghosts there as well. Like, if I was Krystianer, I would go for that army. These Zealots are still alive in the main base. Okay, now they finally go down as they were in range of the tanks. Oh, I feel like we should have done something about that army on the bottom right side. Instead, we're going to try to recall, but we won't save the Nexus. But can we kill at least all these Marauders? That'd be pretty decent. Couple of Disruptors running away, though. And what is that Nexus? That is the weirdest Nexus that I've ever seen. Krystianer, what is happening? Are we malfunctioning over here?
You mean add a shield battery? B&N? Right? I don't know. That is a weird one. It's not going to turn into implementary, I can tell you that much. But this is suddenly... I think that I would not be shocked at all if Krystianer was expecting to be the bully in this game. So he's a little surprised by not just one little attack, which is very, understandable, but 2 attacks. So he just caught off a little bit on that momentum, the tempo of this game. He loses another Nexus. And I was going to say, if he doesn't cancel the weird one, that's also a loss in my eyes. He at least notices that.
Yeah, he's going to cancel it now. Spirit is finding a lot of damage left and right. And it kind of feels that Krystianer is only chasing, right? And by the time he finally takes care of one fire, there is a next fire to worry about. At the same time, the army of Spirit is going to get better and better. And it feels that Krystianer is just kind of fed up. He wants to end it. He wants to land a couple of big balls. But if there is one Terran that you really can't do that against in games like this, it is Spirit. He is going to be bulletproof. Like sometimes in the early game, or the early mid-game, Spirit can be caught off guard by a whole bunch of Zealots. But when we reach this phase where he's rich and he's got all the tanks and all the Liberators that a Terran could dream of, yeah, you just have to embrace it. That it's going to be a very long one. He's trying to run into the brick wall that is Spirit. This is not going to work.
I think Krystianer was really trying to keep up the pace and keep up the pressure when he didn't deal with the bottom right drop. I think he figured that was it, and then otherwise Spirit was pretty much turtling. So I'm going to try and start engaging the guy, on his 5th or on his 4th. That's why his army, I think, was moving to the top left, but it didn't actually respond to the drop that killed his Nexus. So it just was a really good timing to kind of change the pace and really throw Krystianer off. That now leads into Spirit having this slow push with Liberators, and a Protoss who can't stall this out dies to it. Liberators siege up on your 4th base, you're pretty much dead as the Protoss.
One ball did kind of go off, but also blew up a couple of Zealots. The other ones were all very positioning based, but didn't quite get the dream connections. Little drop in the bottom side. Maybe the DTs and the Zealots can also find some success, because that main base is kind of still a sitting duck. Earlier we had a couple of Zealots finding a lot of success in the main. The next wave of Zealots should be able to find some success as well. Can we stop this pretty terrifying Terran army, though? Like, I feel like if Krystianer was rich, yeah, you can maybe deal with this, right? You warp in 12 extra Stalkers, but he's not rich. He's ultra broken. He's losing bases. It kind of feels like it's the beginning of the end.
He definitely missed that particular timing where he could have slowed down the Liberator push. He could have chipped away, certainly, at the Liberator push. That was 45 seconds ago, if he had more Stalkers. But now it's he has more Stalkers. We're approaching +2 ship weapons. Is there an EMP as well? So we're like one-shot these units. Oh, this is a very bold move. The tanks are going to be completely destroyed. The Liberators maybe were hoping to go with the Medivacs, now kind of forced to go to the left first. Big drop into the main. Krystianer is going to be forced to recall, but that is, that's going to be a lot of army supply gone for Spirit.
Yeah, there's also -2 Colossus immediately, maybe even -3 Colossus. That was actually a good trade. Don't forget about the upgrades, by the way. This is like, oh no, the Archons are stuck. That's so sad. I've never seen that interaction. 3 Archons are stuck. They go down to the Liberators. And Spirit, who was 5 upgrades ahead there as